I got a new show for y'all.
Dylan Mulvaney is back in the news. He's on The View.
I couldn't pass this
this
up.
she's on The View.
I couldn't pass this up. And look, everybody, the comments are turned off.
Why
so
would
you know this is a good show.
I mean, if you believe in freedom of speech, why would you turn off the comments?
And you believe what you stand for. Why you turn the comments off?
Yeah, which leads me to believe you don't really believe in what you express in this video. You don't want to hear the harsh criticism people have for you.
Yeah.
Because whenever I see a video, it's no comments. Comments turn off. Yeah. Oh, you finna see something about something crazy.
Yeah. They turned it off because they cannot retort your criticism.
Yeah. That's why.
Dylan Mulvaney became a social media superstar for documenting her gender transition online. She also stood strong against the hateful backlash and boycott after her Bud Light branded post went viral. Now she's sharing her journey in a candid and witty new memoir called Paper Doll. Please welcome Dylan Mulvaney.
This is nothing but a grift.
Yeah, and he didn't write that book. I'm pretty sure of it. All these people coming out with these books, they never write these books.
Yeah.
Even Republicans are doing the same thing. Come out with a new book, they ain't even write the book.
The first question.
So, Dylan, in 2022, you publicly came out as transgender on social media, and you started documenting the first 100 days of your transition. And those posts have now...
Like good old Dylan right there. That's the Dylan I remember.
More than 1 billion, with a B, views.
Crazy.
Yeah. So why did you decide to document that, and how was the reaction?
Yeah, well, I think when I came out to my mom when I was 4, and I didn't...
When he was 4. Did y'all catch that? When he was 4. I can't remember a conversation with my parents at 4.
Know how other trans women were getting to the, to where they were going on their journeys. And I look at someone like Laverne Cox, who you recently had on the show, and actually this feels like a school presentation when you go up after someone who's like really good at what they were doing. And I'm like, oh, shoot. But I think that I didn't know how to get to where women were like Laverne. And so I was like, let me start at the beginning. And I also was doing stand-up comedy in LA at the time. And I wanted to find the funny way into coming out, because I had already come out 2 times before that. And I was like, oh gosh, this needs to, be a little bit lighter of something. So I tried to make people laugh. And I think that comedy's a really good way into, touching people's hearts and changing minds. And then what ended up happening was a lot of support, but a lot of hate. Yeah. And I'm a people pleaser, so I wanted to make the haters see that there were other parts of me and that I am a 3-dimensional person. And so I've kind of taken people along this journey and gotten a lot more vulnerable than I ever thought I would, and overshared a lot more than I thought I ever would have.
Dylan, wait, real quickly, Alyssa, before you go, I think people need to hear this. When you say you came out at 4, I don't think people understand all the time that sometimes a little child will come to the parent, which is what you did, and said, I feel like I'm in the wrong body, like what I am on the inside. Because so often, sadly, it's misassigned to schools. And
nobody does that at 4.
No.
I'm in the wrong body.
That don't make any sense.
That wasn't even, I never even heard that until the progressive side of the Democrat Party started pushing this. No kids were doing this at 4, I'm in the wrong body.
That's just a transgender lie.
And someone's trying to change someone. Oftentimes this happens before the children are even out of the house.
Right.
Right? I think that's such an important point.
Thank you. And I think that, I think I knew how I felt. I knew when I even my sister tells me a story of like, I went into the girls' bathroom in kindergarten, and a teacher had to pull me out because that's where I thought I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
What?
You know what bathroom you were supposed to go into?
Yeah. And you didn't go up to your parents at 4. You putting these little talking points together to make seem like this is okay for a kid to behave like this. No, it's not. It's never okay for a kid, a small child, such as a boy, to go in a girl's bathroom. Yeah, we have bathrooms separate from our genders. Now, if you become 18, 19, you want to do this? Hey, you an adult, go do it. But y'all trying to, your whole point, these talking points that you're sharing with everybody, is because y'all want to push this on kids. That's why you got the comments blocked. Your whole agenda is to push this on kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
to normalize it.
Yeah.
To doing this.
That's why they got determined. She set it up. I was 4 years old. I went to my mom.
Yeah.
When I was little, I went in the girls' bathroom because I thought that's where I belonged. The gym teacher had to pull me out.
Yeah.
They're trying to groom kids.
Hey, Kevin, do you remember being 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old in elementary school using the bathroom? Do you remember doing that? I remember one time I used to go. I remember faintly, but
Yeah, you have little memories, but something like that trivial. You didn't even know the concept of gender at that point. You didn't know sexuality or anything.
Yeah.
You didn't even know the birds and the bees at that point. So you saying you said these things to your parents is just a flat out lie.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this whole incident that had happened when he was pulled out by a gym coach, he probably made it up.
Yeah, it's all lies. Again, I see why these comments are.
Yeah, because this is textbook propaganda.
This is
God,
propaganda.
Nancy Mace wasn't your teacher.
Well, and Dylan, so as you mentioned, you told your parents when you were 4 years old. How did they react then, and do they support you now?
Yes, well, I come from a very conservative Catholic family.
Oh, gosh.
But I feel lucky because I now am in such a great place with them. There's love there, despite our different views. And I think that's what, thank you.
Good.
And hi, Mom, I love you. And I think that's what's so frustrating about what happened with sort of, I call it Beergate in the book. But it's
Pushing the book.
Hey, did you hear her response? What's that? The black girl's name? She said,
Sonny.
"Oh gosh, yeah, Sonny. Yeah. Oh gosh, like Republicans and conservatives are like these evil, demented people."
that I know that there's a possibility for love and understanding when a connection is made, and that's what I had with my family. And I think my mom said something along the lines of, God doesn't make mistakes, but
Exactly.
I don't think God sees me as a mistake. And I actually am still really trying to keep a relationship with the higher power, because I think that, trans and queer people are entitled to that if that's what they're looking for.
Can I just tell you something? So the first transgender person I met is Rigo Ross Layton, and he's the son of a very conservative Cuban-American Republican Congresswoman, Ileana Ross Layton, who was in Congress representing Little Havana when Rigo transgendered. And everybody supported it because I think people know and respect when you put love above anything else.
Yes, 1,000%. And I will always lead with joy. And I think that's what the book is really queer joy.
Joyful.
Thank you.
The book.
Well, Dylan, as you got more popular on social media, you started doing some brand deals with different companies.
I did, honey.
Including, as you would call Beergate, Bud Light. A branded post that you did for them went viral. There were angry protests denouncing the brand. The company got bomb threats. You were the lead topic on conservative media for months. And it became known as one of the biggest boycotts in American history. Yes. Now, what people didn't see with all this backlash, it caused you to have suicidal ideations. What did you experience at this time, and what helped you get through it?
Right. Well, I will start by saying I love beer, and I always have.
I was going to say, what were they thinking?
So,
Yeah, because you're
when
a
I
man.
took that deal, I didn't think anything of it because I was like, oh, this is perfect. It felt like an organic thing to do, and because it was just
It's a TikTok ad, and your fan base is little kids.
Yeah, that's why people are all pissed off about it. Plus, you pushing an ideology on kids, vulnerable kids, and then you start drinking alcohol, and then Bud Light supporting that. That's why it's such a pushback. It didn't make sense for a brand to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, gotta.
Your fan base is under 12.
Yeah.
another part of me. And I think what was so confusing about how it was going on was that it kept going, and I realized I had become the poster child for this thing. When transness is just a small part of me. I'm a musical theater girl through and through. And so I think that as that was, I didn't have all the resources that I needed to get through. And I'm the most privileged of transness. So I think that just goes to show how the rest of the community is hurting and the resources that we need. But what I think was really special about writing about the experience was that people see me as this like eternal optimist. But I think sometimes the people that are seen that way are often the ones that are hurting the most. And what brings me the most joy is my gender euphoria. And to have that used against me was such a mind game. But I went and did ayahuasca, which I write about, which just gets a little woo-woo in there. But I think it was really the people around me and the trans women in my life that supported me during that time and took my hand and said, "This is our reality. Welcome." That's what got me through.
I wanted to ask you, because there's been all of this debate about whether transgender athletes should be able to compete. And last week, California Governor Gavin Newsom said that he thinks that trans athletes competing in girls' and women's sports was deeply unfair.
Of
now,
course.
I want to hear what you think, because I'll tell you what I think, too.
Yeah. The last time I played a sport, I was 6 years old, and I was on a soccer team, but I assigned myself as the nurse. So I sat with the Band-Aids. And so in the words of Wicked, I am not that girl. But a dear friend of mine, Skylar, he is a trans athlete. His handle's Pink Manta Ray. That's someone who I really look to for guidance. And I think that is what's tricky, is like, now stepping in this identity. I'm still like a baby trans. You know, I've only 3 years in. Tomorrow's my anniversary.
Your friend went Your friend went from female to male and is competing with other males.
Correct.
No.
Yes.
Her friend.
Yes.
Her friend went from female to male and is competing with other
So
males.
Gavin doesn't have a problem with
Good
that.
luck.
Well, I think part of the problem that the trans community is facing, and it's the same problem that women face, is if you don't know anything about our bodies, you don't know how it works. So when you come in and you say, oh, you know, these are men, you know,
competing
against women, you're assuming that the women are weak and just can't do anything except be here. Have you seen female athletes? They know what they're doing.
What in the world?
First of all, he didn't answer the question. She's trying to answer the question with a bunch of tomfoolery.
How many women are transitioning to men and dominating men's sports?
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Yeah. They can't compete because it's unfair for a woman to try to compete with men.
The only thing we get upset about is when you have men, because you know biological men are going to be stronger, faster than women.
So Governor Newsom is right.
Yeah. Look how quick they turn on their very own when they just use a little common sense. The Gavin Newsom has just common sense. Men are stronger than women. Whoopi Goldberg is a nut job.
So I'm not sure what's going on or why this is an issue. The same.
This woman is, come on, I know you stupid, but you can't be that stupid.
Yeah, I'm going to see if any of these ladies stand up. But this is why this ideology has went so far in this country, because of women.
And black folks.
And, Democrat voters.
Yeah.
But women, if women would push back against this, it would go nowhere.
Keith, if black people pushed back on it, if this say 50% of black people voted conservative because of this one topic, you would never see another Democrat in office.
Yeah.
And we only make up, 12% of the population?
Yeah.
This is progressive women and black folks.
Yeah, let's see how they answer this.
And for me, as when people say, oh, you know, I don't know how I feel about you. You do. God doesn't make mistakes.
No.
And the challenge is not to the trans people, it's to the people who are not trans. That's what God is looking to see, how you treat people.
Yeah.
Have you read the Bible?
Man shall not dress as a woman or lay. I don't know it verbatim, but I know he's against this.
Yeah. He's against the same-sex marriages.
It's between a man and a woman.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the Bible, I mean, I'm all for this man.
He's Jewish, I think.
Yeah, I'm all for this man living his life. He's an adult. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, but
you're lying to everybody about these things that happened to you when you was 4 years old and in school.
This is just gaslighting at its best.
That's why the comments are turned off.
I didn't think Whoopi could go any lower. That was nuts what she said. And the interview's going to cut right now. It's like they got
I think Dylan didn't want to answer that question because honestly, he know there's a difference between men and women when it comes to physicality. He didn't want to answer the question.
Kevin, if there's no difference, then why transition?
Yeah, I know.
There's a difference. He transitioned. Whoopi used those words, transition. Yeah. If there's no difference between the genders, why transition?
Right.
That's what is happening. So I was just curious as to.
And listen at the clapping seal women in the audience clapping for that stupid response.
Yeah. This is nuts.
But she, Dylan, I said she.
Yeah, man.
Dylan, he conflates criticism with hate.
Yeah.
I would think a majority of people, the criticism that they gave him or her, however you see it, but a lot of the things that people are pushing back on is just, just one video, case in point, you're just lying. You making up things.
Yeah.
And if you are 18, an adult, and you want to do this, so be it, it's your life.
Yeah.
But the thing that everybody's pushing back on is the men and women sports, and y'all pushing this stuff on kids.
Yeah, and you normalizing it.
That's not,
and you're painting us as evil because we don't want to play along with your game.
Yeah, that's not hate. That's
objective criticism.
Exactly what it is.